Then time to put the spotlight then on the startup of the day, a horticulture startup from Kashmir called Qul Fruitwall, which has received a funding of 60 crores from Belgium-based impact investor, along with an Indian growth capital platform. Now, this marks the first time a private sector enterprise in the region has received such a substantial foreign funding. The firm was started by Mir Khuram Shafi, who was in the United States before returning to his roots, and then he set up India's first high-tech, high-density orchard in 2013-14. All right, then let's go across to Mr. Mir Khuram Shafi, who's the CEO of Qul Fruitwall. Thanks, Mr. Shafi, very much for joining us here on Startup Central. Now, this is an interesting trend around a Kashmir-based startup getting interest from a foreign investor, and this specifically happening post the abrogation of Article 370. Now, the kind of development work also that's going on, which is pretty interesting to see in the region. But you do give us a sense as in how are you looking at the overall spectrum of startup activity in Kashmir? And secondly, how do you plan to utilize the capital that you've just received?
If you're asking me about the utilization of the funds, the way we are looking as Qul, as a company, we see quite a bit of utilization in the product, process, and digital technologies. We do have a baseline business. We work with more than 10,000 farmers. Have been working for quite some time, but did a lot of research work, field experiments for several years, and before we scaled it up in 2019 and onwards. But we have seen lots of opportunities that we have in Kashmir, and not only Kashmir, but I would say Jammu and Kashmir and the Himalayan region. So not only we are putting this money into expansion of what we have done so far, but improvising, from the product technology base, from the process technology base, and the digital technology base in Jammu and Kashmir and in the other Himalayan regions.
So this is definitely opening doors for more foreign institutional capital in a very untapped region like J&K, which has been mired in insurgency for the longest time, but now things are changing. But how do you really see the inflow of foreign capital in the region?
I think that's a great question. I do feel that the floodgates have opened in terms of other financial vehicles. A lot of the growth that has happened in Jammu and Kashmir previously, when you talk about business, it has been driven by debt, not a whole lot by equity interventions. So I think this is the first of its kind, especially a global impact fund coming in. Our focus has always been to make sure that we bring in the class of investors who would be, socially very aware, who would be environmentally conscious, because if you look at the region that I come from and look at the entire Himalayan region, we got to be very careful with the kind of money that comes in, because we sit at the in the lap of the Himalayas. So we want to make sure, especially in horticulture, that the way we grow, the way we expand, the way we scale up, it is in tune with the environment. It is in tune with the sensitivities and sensibilities of the local cultures. So I think that's why we took quite a bit of time to find the right class of investors to invest into a company like ours. But looking at other opportunities, I believe that there are going to be many more people across the world, right from New York to London to Tokyo, and I believe that a lot of people would be interested after seeing this event taking place in Kashmir for the first time.
Right, Mr. Shafi, now this business is then also focused on transitioning farmers to this high-tech, high-density farming, right? So how difficult has that been for you, and how do you expect this to boost your farm income?
Again, a good question. So we have been working with, as I said, with a lot of farmers for many years. And the way when you look at it's not only just the high density, it is the entire culture of farming, right from looking at the biotechnology, this science behind the rootstock, to the actually growing of these trees and then managing these trees, and then the post-harvest. So there are a lot of different value nodes across the entire value chain. And our experience has been that when you look at all these value nodes, the entire value chain is only as strong as the weakest value node. So we started with post-harvest several years ago, where we were able to bring down the produce waste significantly. We also were able to bring down the non-value added costs quite a bit. And then we realized that there needs to be a lot of work that needs to happen in the field where we can increase the yield. And what we are showing with these high-tech, high-density orchards, where we are using a lot less water, we are using a lot less pesticide, and the yield has gone from an average of 15 metric ton per hectare to 80 metric ton per hectare. And the quality of the produce that we are getting is absolutely phenomenal. And there are majorly two reasons for that. One is the environment that we have in India, especially in the northern India and close to the Himalayas, is absolutely brilliant. You look at the soil fertility, you look at water quality, it is excellent. And on top of that, the topography also helps quite a bit, in terms of the amount of work that needs to go into building these orchards. So for when I look at these high-density, high-tech orchards, the quality of the produce that comes out of it is much, much better than what you have seen in a traditional way of growing. So in a traditional way of growing, 30 to 35% would be a very high quality, outcome in terms of the quality of the produce. But in this case, I see we can go up to 80%, 85% high quality produce coming out of the same orchard.
All right, one final question, Mr. Shafi, before we let you go. What kind of potential do you really see in the horticulture industry in the region, considering that it is expected that efficiencies in farming will be seen due to tech integration, and then the dependence on exports? Are they all set to decrease to some extent? And secondly, what are your key asks of the government as far as this sector is concerned?
So I think that the overall ecosystem is excellent in this moment, and the opportunities are huge. The entire Jammu and Kashmir, because if you look at the topography of Jammu and Kashmir, we are right now having focused on apples and cherries and pears, but there are other produce that we can do quite a bit with. When you look at kiwis, you look at plums, apricots. So there are regions in Jammu and Kashmir which are more suitable for one kind of crop, than the other. So once you do the analysis, you realize that, okay, this particular region is more suitable for plums than apples. And that is true with Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and the Northeast. So if you look at the entire stretch, there is quite a bit of potential in growing these different crops, and every single region has a unique, I would say, unique variables to deal with. And if we do kind of proper study, we can figure out that certain crops are much more suitable in certain regions than others. And if you look at the government, I think government has been quite active in terms of focusing on horticulture. And I see that, in Jammu and Kashmir, now in, Himachal Pradesh and in Uttarakhand. And I do have friends in these places and business associates, and there's quite a bit of push on the horticulture side. And truly, we believe as an organization, we can make India, especially this northern region, the horticulture bowl of the world. There is a humongous potential. You need basically three things to really push into horticulture revolution. And one is the climate. And we do have that. We naturally have that. And I think we have the best climate, one of the best climates, I would say, in the world to grow such produce. Second, I think the access to technology. So I think we are getting there. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And the last is the people who we need to actually do the job on the ground. And as you know, we do have a lot of potential in that area as well. So that's why I think that these ingredients are going to make Jammu and Kashmir and nearby regions in the Himalayas the best suitable place to bring this horticulture revolution.
Well said, Mr. Shafi. So the Himalayan region in India can really be the horticulture center of the world. And like you also said, the integration of tech is only going to fast track the growth of this and the entrepreneurial ecosystem in your region. Your company has been the first one to garner such an investment. And we do hope many more companies really are able to pick up investment soon. On that note, thank you very much for staying with us and joining us, most importantly, and taking the time out to speak to us.